Hi. My next video today, I'm going to talk about one guy. This guy has influenced me a lot in terms of the way I should be looking at Africa, the way I should be looking at the media and social media, to be precise. And this guy is none other than, yes, WodeMaya or WodeMaya. In case you never knew this, WodeMaya is Chinese. Okay, that's a Chinese language. WodeMaya is like oh my God in China. So in China, when people see something and they're supposed to say oh my God, they say WodeMaya or WodeMaya. WodeMaya. So that's how this name came about, because WodeMaya used to study in China. The same time while I was in China, he was also in China studying, and not very far away from where I live. And most of his experiences, because he started making videos whilst he was in China. If you look at his earliest videos, they were made in China. And he has shared the story of how he decided to leave China, go back to Africa, and started making African content. And since then, I remember myself during COVID, stuck in China, watching WodeMaya's episodes every day. Okay, I remember the day his YouTube channel got to 100,000 subscribers. I was watching him. He went live, and I remember he was with his friends. They had their cameras waiting for the 100,000 subscription, and I was there watching them. Proud moment. Since then, the sky has been the limit. Anyway, that's not the topic. What I want to talk about today is what WodeMaya represents. This guy represents the champion of Africa. When I see him, I know he is the champion. He is the one, guys. And talking about African narrative, do you know that most of the negative stereotypes and the negative narratives about Africa is actually made by Africans? Do you know that? If you go on social media and try to find negative stories, negative things about Africa, most of the times there is an African behind those things. You know, it's either they're complaining about their countries and they're generalizing African as one problematic place. You know, we make things that we think are funny by trying to associate Africa to backwardness. You know, you see video posts about Africa where people say, do you see these Chinese kids? They are busy working with computers. Meanwhile, African children, they are doing this. African children are doing this. We reinforce that narrative. And you ask yourself, are you telling me that there are no Africans or African children who are studying computers? Are you telling me that there are no high schools in Africa where students are busy doing experiments in laboratories? Are you telling me that there are no African kids who are good at math and science? Why do you feed to the narrative that degrades Africa? And not only that, you go to America, you go to China, you go to places where most people have never been to Africa, and ask them what they know about Africa. They will tell you stories that they heard from African migrants. You understand? Somebody who fled their country due to political instability or poverty or whatever reasons, they got a chance to go to America. They go to American schools and they start telling stories about where they come from. And what do they say? Where I'm coming from, we don't have running water. Where there's no electricity. Here, where I come from, this is this, this is this, this is this. As if other countries don't have rural and urban settings. If you go to America, you have rural America. You might not have water in rural America. If you go to any country, even developed countries, they have rural setting and urban setting. And we choose to depict the rural setting as the symbol of the whole of Africa. Like there is no urban settlements in Africa. And now, when these Westerners have all these stories in their minds, these Chinese people have all these stories in their minds, and one day they get a chance to travel to Africa, They arrive in Nairobi, Kenya. They see a beautiful city, beautiful airport. They don't believe it. So they still want to go to the village to find the Maasai villages, the tribal people, to shoot their content, because that's what they came looking for. That's what they heard about Kenya. So they arrive in Kenya. They don't want to go to the beach, to the hotels, to all the nice streets. They want to go to the villages so they can find what they used to think about Africa. And once they get there, they see kids running around without shirts, kids running around without shoes. They're like, yes, that's it. That's what I wanted. And they're taking content. They're creating content. So today you come on Chinese social media, all the content you find about Africa are from the rural settings, the villages, the dirtiest of the dirtiest places. That's where they go to create their content. Okay? Now, why do I respect WodeMaya? WodeMaya changed this a lot. He changed this a lot. So many people that have never been to Africa know Africa today because of WodeMaya. Thanks to YouTube, thanks to COVID pandemic, because that's when we started watching, binge watching on content, social media content. And WodeMaya since then has done nothing but exceptional work in promoting Africa and trying to paint the right image of Africa. That's why I respect this brother. Actually, we have met. He was in Malawi 3 years ago, 2023, and I happened to be in Malawi at that time. I was happy to meet him. Yeah, we had a brief moment to talk, and I feel very proud. I feel very proud of him. I also watch two other guys that I've known through watching WodeMaya. They are both Nigerian, and I love their content, and I will highlight them, give them their flowers one of these days. But today I just wanted to give my flowers to one and only, the champion of Africa, WodeMaya. Respect, my brother.